Hello, my name is Bonnie and this is my channel, A Knitter Obsessed. This is my knitting podcast where I talk about all things knitting currently going on in my life. Today that's going to take the form of just a regular podcast update. So I've got some finished objects for you, some works in progress, and it should be a lot of fun. I do want to put a disclaimer in right at the beginning that the lighting might be a little interesting in this video. I'm not really sure what it's going to do. It's very cloudy today. I'm looking out the window right now seeing what the clouds are doing, but it's very cloudy today. They're definitely moving across the sky, and I can tell that the lighting so far as I've been like playing with my video like camera setup and stuff has been getting like lighter and darker and all sorts of stuff. So I'm gonna do the best with what I got and, you know, hopefully in editing make this look as seamless as possible. But if it's a little over the place, I do apologize. This is the weather we're supposed to have for like the next week, so it kind of is what it is. There's no way I can really get around it. Before we get going too far, I would like to talk about what I'm wearing. So I'm wearing my sweater number 14 V-neck by My Favorite Things Knitwear. I knit this using Noro Rika in the colorway number 10, which I like this sweater. It's just so insanely oversized and cozy, and I'm probably running out of days to wear it this year actually because it is very, very warm, and I'm actually feeling a little warm in it right now. But it was a very, like I said, kind of gloomy day today, and so I wanted to wear like all of my snuggliest knits. So I'm also, because of that, wearing some vanilla socks. And then this is one of my oldest knits that I still own actually, the hat. This is the pattern Twiggy. I need to look up the designer, so I'll put like some of the pattern and project information on the screen here. But I know it's called Twiggy. I know I knit it out of Knit Picks palette in the colorway Spearmint. And I know it's on like, I'm pretty sure it's on US 2 needles. It's very small needles. But I knit this probably like 8 to 10 years ago maybe. I'm not 100% sure, but and I've worn it on and off ever since. I love this hat. It's held up incredibly well. It's nice and lightweight because of the lighter yarn, and just easy to put on when I'm having a little bit of a funky hair day like I am today. I just wanted to keep the hair under control today. So yeah, with that, let's get into the projects. My very first finished object, I'm so excited about it, but I'm also not gonna be able to like hold it up for you guys. I'm so sad. So it's the Bergman Sweater by Caitlin Hunter. However, it is currently blocking like just off the screen over there, and it's damp enough that I'd rather not take it off the blocking mats and kind of manipulate it and move it around too much. So my plan is to take some B-roll and be able to put it up on the screen, the screen over here, for you as I talk about it. And so I'll shift over to the side just a little bit so that way you can see the video well, but so that way you can see what I'm talking about, but I won't have it right in front of me, so there's a chance I'll talk about things a little out of order and all of that. So just bear with me because I'm really excited to, you know, share this one with you. But this is the Bergman Sweater by Caitlin Hunter, as I mentioned. It is a colorwork sweater knit in worsted weight yarn. I knit the size 2, which is the 40-inch size, which should give me like 3 to 4 inches of positive ease. And I knit this using Mode at Rowan Merino Soft in the colorways Sage and Denim. So I used pretty much all of the yarn that I bought. So this is how much of the denim I had left. I'm pretty sure I bought 4 50-gram skeins of the denim. And then this is what I have left of the Sage. So probably a little less than half a skein. And I'm pretty sure I bought 8 of these. I could be wrong. I picked out this yarn because my local yarn store was having a sale, and so it was fairly heavily discounted. And so the whole sweater, I think, cost about $80, which isn't cheap. Like, I'm not saying I got like a huge crazy deal on this sweater or anything, but compared to some of my other knits, it's really not that bad. So I'm pretty happy with that. The Mode at Rowan is 100% merino, so it's not superwash, and so I was able to like splice the yarns together when I ran out, which was nice. It knit up like weirdly stiff and almost kind of like crunchy feeling when I was working with it. And when I blocked it, because I did like a couple of mid-project blocks, every time I would block it, it would soften up and it would be really, really nice texture. So it was a little bit of like trusting the process with this yarn, because there were a couple times when I was knitting with it going like, oh, this looks kind of awful, and I would block it and be like, oh no, this is fine. Okay, it's just the yarn's a little finicky. But I did really like the process. As for the sweater, I'm so happy with it. This is my first ever stranded colorwork sweater. It's only my second ever stranded colorwork project, and my first project was a disaster and did not go well. So I'm really happy with this one. I was really careful the whole time I was knitting to like keep my stitches spread out and keep my tension like as even as I could get it. And I did have to catch floats. There were quite a few rows where I did have to catch floats, especially in the yoke, the sleeves and the color work at the like bottom hem, not so much, but in the yoke there were quite a few. And I did have to like reduce like some rows where I would like catch floats, but they would like line up with increases, or like there'd be, I don't know, it definitely took some trial and error to make the sweater. I didn't just like fly right through it. I did have to like redo some things when they started to look funny, and work on my tension and work on where I caught my floats and all of that. So I feel like I learned a ton because of that, and I'm really happy that I took the time to like go back and make things look correct and like really figure out what I did wrong and adjust those mistakes. And I felt like because of that, the process got easier and easier the longer I knit on it. And yeah, it was just so rewarding. Like I haven't really like had to teach myself a new technique like that in a long time. Like I've done projects that are like challenging to me because of like different constructions or something, but not like a whole new technique. And so I don't know, it was just a really fun challenge, and I just kept getting so excited to see like the next row of the color work, like to get to the next section to see this, you know, part of the motif show up. And I knit it in 2 weeks. I knit the entire sweater in 2 weeks because of that, which included, like I said, a couple of mid-project blocks. So this thing absolutely flew off my needles, and I did not see that coming. I thought this was going to be like a slow and steady long-term project, but not at all. Even my husband was like, did you just start that? Like, how was it done? I'm like, I have no idea. I did upsize on the needles for this a little bit. So I think the pattern calls for US 6 and I used a US 7. I kept the same ribbing needles, so US 4. Did pretty much everything else to pattern. Take that back. There was one major change I made in the pattern. It did call for like, it's like a teeny tiny rolled edge on all of the hems and the neckline, where she does like one row of stockinette before casting off. Or in the case of the neckline, you do like, you cast on, do one row of stockinette, and then you go into the ribbing. And I tried that on the neckline and immediately didn't like it. So I just, from the cast on, went straight into the ribbing. On the sleeves, from the edge of the ribbing, immediately cast off. Like I just kept it nice and simple, and I like the look of it. I think it looks very clean this way. The ribbing is 2x1 ribbing. And so rather than, like when I do 1x1 ribbing, I like to do a sewn bind off. When I do 2x2 ribbing, I like to bind off just like a standard bind off button pattern. But for these ones, I thought it would look nice. I did the bind off where you knit 2 through the back loop and then like pass the stitch back over, knit 2 through the back loop, pass the stitch back over. And it made this really pretty braid along all of the edges that I think looks really nice. Like I think it's really pretty going from the 2x1 ribbing into the braid. I did sort of do all of the bind offs a little too tight. So on the blocking mat right now, it's kind of why I don't want to move it, because I am stretching those bind offs like to their max to try, and like the ribbing and stuff, to try and get a little bit of space in them. And if that works, great. If it doesn't work, I might just have to redo my bind offs. I think everything else is fine. But I wouldn't be totally surprised if I have to rip the bind offs off and try again. So we'll see. Anything else about this? I had such a fun time knitting this, and like now I want to do more color work. I am on a yarn ban right now. Not like, mostly just because I have so many projects I want to make, and I just don't really have room in my brain for like more projects. And so I'm trying to stop myself from buying yarn because of that, just to keep myself in check. And I don't have like yarn for color work projects right now. So I'm not sure what my next color work project will be, and it will probably be a little while, but I'm excited for more. Like this was a ton of fun, and I'm just so proud of it. Like I'm so happy. there's mistakes. It's not perfect by any means. Like, I can tell my tension on like the, there's like 2 stitch kind of stripes that go in between each of the like kind of panels of the yoke. And my tension's definitely a little tight on all of those. So like the little 2 stitch stripes kind of want to like pop forward like too much. Like they're not laying flat necessarily, but I think it's fine. Like I'm not 100% sure why my tension was so off there. It was early in the project. Like I said, I'm new to stranded color work, so I'm sure it was just something with that. But I don't know. I'm okay with it. I like that it has a few flaws. I like that it looks, you know, like I can tell that I learned while making this, and that's just a lot of fun to me, and I'm really, really proud of it. So yeah, that's my Bergman sweater by Caitlin Hunter. Hopefully I got the B-roll up for you. Hey, so this is post trying on the sweater Bonnie, and I thought I would just share a couple of quick things about the Bergman that I didn't get to in the original video. It's definitely, so when I first knit it, the sleeves were like so tight, and they're definitely still very fitted. But they blocked out nicely, so I'm really happy with that. And then I think I have determined I am going to redo the bottom, the hem bind off, because it is quite tight and I feel like it cinches it in even more than it's supposed to, because this sweater does have some decreases right before the color work on the bottom to make the color work line up. And so it is supposed to have a little bit of a taper, but because my bind off is also tight, it's a little too much of a taper and I don't like it that much. So I think if I just rip that out, bind off with a slightly bigger needle, it'll be perfect. But other than that, I am so happy with this. My row gauge was quite a bit bigger than the pattern called for, and I was worried that the yoke was going to be like crazy deep, but I don't think so. Like, it's definitely a little deeper than the pattern called for. Like, my armpit is here, so there is a little bit of a gap, but I don't think it looks weird when I'm wearing it. I think it looks pretty good, so I'm really happy with it. Next up, this was a finished object in my last podcast episode, but it wasn't blocked. It wasn't blocked. It didn't have the ends woven in, and I do feel like it deserves a moment to be shown off, you know, in its like truly finished form. But this is the Kylie Pullover by Irene, and so it's got a bit more drape to it now. The cables are nice and open, and I really like this. I knit this in We Are Knitters the cotton. I knit size 1, so the absolute smallest size. I used every single little bit of yarn that I had, so there's no way to make it any longer, and I absolutely would have made it longer if I could. However, I do think that this will look so cute in the summer with like a pair of shorts or like flowy pants, and I do think it looks so cute on. So I'll also be putting up some B-roll for this of me wearing it. Granted, just with like jeans and stuff, it's probably not going to be as like perfectly styled as I would if it was a little warmer here today, but I'm really happy with how it turned out. And I just, like I said last week, I knit this basically to get the yarn out of my stash, because I've had the yarn in my stash for probably 5 or 6 years, and I just wanted to stop moving it from room to room at this point. But I'm surprised at how much I like the yarn. Like, just the stitch definition is so nice. The color's beautiful. It was fun to work with. Like, for a cotton, it's like incredibly soft cotton, so it really didn't bother my hands at all. It felt really nice to work with. It blocked out beautifully. It dried actually surprisingly quickly. I was surprised because this thing was heavy when it came out of the water. It had so much water in it. But yeah, I'm really pleased with this. I do recommend the pattern. It was a ton of fun. It's very straightforward pattern, but with just enough like very thoughtful shaping that I feel like the finished garment fits really quite nicely. So yeah, that's nice and quick. Like I said, I had talked about this more in my last podcast, so if you want some more details, I would go check out my last one. But that's the Kylie Pullover by Irene. All right, next up, I know I'm kind of flying through these. I'm feeling energized today. I feel like I'm talking fast. All right, so the next one, I knit myself some socks. So nothing crazy. These are just vanilla socks. I've got both of them right here. But these are the 29 Bridges Go-To Sock Base for the main color in the colorway Patina. I got this, I'm sorry, I'm looking over at my viewfinder to make sure this is all in focus. That's why my eyes are like all to the side. But I got this yarn at Flock Fiber Festival last year, which is a little funny because my local yarn store sells this exact yarn in this color. I didn't need to pick it up at Flock, but it was fun. I still enjoyed, visiting the booth and actually talking to some of the people at 29 Bridges because they were really, really nice. But I absolutely love this color. I feel like it looks stripier and like more contrasty on camera than it does in person. In person, the colors really quite meld together I think they look nice both ways, but they're more kind of blended in person. And then the other thing that I find funny is these socks are definitely like sisters, not necessarily twins. So like this one has so much more of the orange and like the rest colors than this one. This one has a lot more of the blue and the white. And it is pretty noticeable, but I quite like it. But while it works for socks, it's a very good study in why if you were like making a garment with this or something, you'd probably really want to alternate skeins and try to, spread some of those colors out. I did do just little tiny contrast color at the top, contrast toes, and then I did the afterthought heel, which was the first time for me. I had only ever done heel flap and gusset before this, so I think it came out super cute, and they fit really nicely. So my only issue with the afterthought heel, because I mostly really liked it, was just trying to figure out where to cut, like how to line my heel up with the toe correctly and not be like skewed one side or the other. Like that took me so long, and I kept like counting and recounting and lining up all my stitches and they turned out great, but I got really paranoid about it. So I feel like if I do this construction again, I'm gonna get a little more creative with like stitch markers just to do some of the work up front when I know where my beginning of round and all of that is, rather than trying to guess at the end and make it more complicated for myself. One thing about these with all of the color changes and the afterthought heel and all that is there were so many ends to weave in. It took forever, but I'm very happy with them now and excited to wear them. And I was wearing them this morning and I realized that I needed to talk about them at the podcast and I should take them off. And so I switched to my other vanilla socks in the meantime, which are nice, but I'm excited for these. I guess I should explain why I was so excited for these, but my other vanilla socks are the only other pair I've ever made myself, and I made the 72 stitch count just because that was when I measured my foot what it said I should make. And I've always felt that my first pair just felt too big. Like they're not baggy, but they're not really tight either. They're okay. They feel weird in shoes because they move around a lot. And so these are 64 stitch count, and I'm really excited just to see how these wear on my feet over time. The Go-To Bridges, their go-to sock, it feels really nice. Like, it's quite soft, but it's got like a nice sturdiness to it as well. Oh, and then I totally forgot that contrast colors is Silver Pennies Yak U sock yarn in the colorway, I think it's Aquamarine. If I'm wrong, I'll put that on the screen. And so that's left over from my Oslo sweater. It's a sock yarn. I think it has merino, nylon, and yak. There might also be silk. I'm not 100% sure what the makeup is, but yeah, definitely. I thought they looked really nice together and just played off each other very nicely. But yeah, nothing really crazy to say about those. I used the afterthought heel pattern from Summer Lee's book, the sock project, and just kind of rolled with it. And then it was also my first time ever using the 9-inch circulars. So I had a set of ChowGoo US 1 9-inch circulars and did everything but the toe and the heel using those, which was actually very nice. I thought I didn't like it when I first started, but honestly, it was such a nice process and it made the socks so portable and I could just take them anywhere. And I might be using those going forward. We'll see. I hated doing ribbing in them. I feel like if I do ribbed socks, I will probably just use magic loop. But other than that, I think they were excellent. So surprised. So jumping right off of that sock one, I'll go into one of my works in progress. So I was babysitting my nieces, which I do pretty much every week, and I had just finished those socks, and I just like I hadn't woven in any of the ends or anything. I just like thrown them on a table, and my nieces saw them, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, these are so pretty!" And they were like absolutely enthralled with them. My one niece has been in love with that teal color ever since I worked on the Oslo sweater. She kept asking me to give her the Oslo sweater. I kept having to be like, "No, sorry." But so she saw it, she's like, "These are so cool." And they both were like, "Can you make us socks?" And I was like, "Yeah, I guess so." I did tell them that they wouldn't have them anytime soon because 4 socks essentially. It's gonna take me a little bit because they have small feet, but you know, they're not like babies. They are a little older, so I have to make pretty much some full-size socks. But I got all of my sock yarns out, all of my minis, all of my like scraps, and put them out on the table and had them pick their colors. And so my youngest niece, she picked out these 3. And so my plan is to do heels, toes, and cuffs with the darker color. And then I want to stripe the 2 greens and with like bigger stripes, and then do like small white stripes in between those. So it'll be a lot of striping, probably a lot of ends to weave in at the end. I'm planning to, you know, carry the yarn up the side, but we'll see what happens. And yeah, I just barely started it. So I have a little tiny cuff and the first couple stripes so far. It looks really small, but it should stretch and fit her leg. We'll see. I'll be able to try it on her next week when I see her and just make sure it goes over her heel. And if it doesn't, I will just try again. So I haven't gotten far enough for it to be a problem. And then my other niece, where'd it go? Oh, and these are all 3 of these are Knit Pick Stroll. They were all minis that I had that I bought in a pack. And I have absolutely no idea what color any of them are because none of them had labels. So, I mean, that one's white, but other than that, I have no idea. And then my other niece, she picked out these yarns. So this is a Knit Pick Stroll. This is my Yak U from Silver Pennies leftover. She saw my socks and my sweater, and she's like, "Can you please make me something with this yarn?" And I was like, "Okay." And then this is Lang Yawwal, I think is what it's called. It's their sock base. And so they're all superwash merinos. This one is, like I said, it's a superwash merino with a bit of yak. But yeah, I think those will also be really beautiful colors together. So similar to hers, I'm planning to stripe these 2, and then I'll do the accents with the lighter color. So, and then it is funny. So not all of my sock yarns are blues, teals, and greens. But my nieces only picked out blues, teals, and greens. And so I just gotta say, I feel like my nieces have very similar taste in color to me because all I've been knitting with are blues, teals, and greens lately. So I very much approve of their color choice. But yeah, we'll see how they go. I'm using the kid size from Summer Lee's book for my youngest niece, and then the size small for my oldest niece. So I think the kid size is like a 48 stitch sock. And then the small is like a 54 stitch sock or something like that. In those ballparks. I think 56 stitch. I don't know. It's not too important, but hopefully those will fit them. But I'll try and get them to try them on once I get a little bit of them done so I can check the sizing. I did measure their feet, but like I said, when I measured my foot and made the sock that I thought fit, it felt too big. So I don't 100% trust the measuring strategy, but we'll see. But yeah, those are be exciting. They're just going to be vanilla. I think I'm going to do afterthought heels on those as well. So that way I don't have to like mess up my striping. I can just keep carrying it along the side and then go from there. And honestly, carrying the yarn up the side will tell me where to start the afterthought heel. So that'll actually be really handy. All right. Next up for whips, this is my, you guys have seen it so many times, but it's my Kip Sweater by Rebecca Clow. This is in Knit Picks High Desert Sport in the colorway Mountain Bluebird. And if you watched my last podcast, this probably looks very similar. The only change is that I ripped the cuff out. So we've actually gone backwards on this one, but I told you guys last time that I was going to do that. So, but yeah, all I've done is rip the cuff out, pick up the stitches again, and then I did one rapid decrease round, and then I will do the lateral braid and the cuff again. So I think last time I showed you guys the cuff, it was like this, it was like twice as wide as my wrist. It came out like here. This time, because it'll cinch in a little bit with the actual ribbing, so it's still big, but it's a lot less big. And so what I did for the rapid decrease round is just a knit 1, knit 2 together, so that should have halved the stitches. So that's, or go down by 1/3. Yeah, so 1/3 decreased, which is pretty significant. And so I'm hoping that's plenty. If it's not, we'll do it again and we'll half the stitches. Like, it's fine. I will just keep doing this one until it's right, because this is the never-ending project at this point. My thing is, I'm really wanting in my head to cast on another sweater and a lot of other sweaters. Like, I just want to cast everything on. But I also, I want this sweater. Like, I want to have it finished. I want to see what it looks like. I want to block it. I want to wear it. So I'm gonna try and make myself prioritize this one. I did get 1 extra ball of yarn because I did mention I was going to run out, and that came in the mail. So I shouldn't, I don't have that as an excuse not to work on it anymore. Whenever I need to frog something, and I'm sure a lot of people are like this, I drag my feet like forever. Like, it's not that frogging's so bad. It's just so different than my usual routine that I just like don't want to sit down and figure it out and like pick up the stitches again at the end and all that. And so this literally was just sitting on my guest bed from the time I filmed the last podcast until this morning. And then I realized I was going to film again, and I just like, it's nice. These podcasts really hold me accountable, because I was like, I said I was going to frog it. Like, you just need to frog it. Like, go sit down and do it really quick. And it took me like 5 minutes, and then I got it back on the needles and it wasn't a big deal. But I don't know why. It's one of those tasks that I will just put off forever, and then it will cause projects to just sit in limbo forever, because I know I need to frog something, and I'm like, well, I guess that just means we're never working on it again, which is not the right way to do things. But I'm excited for that. It should be moving along here soon. So I think once I get the first sleeve done, like really done, and I'm like happy with it, I'll be so much more motivated to get the second sleeve done. Because honestly, like, I'm so close. And I feel like once you finish out, like, sleeves and socks to me are the same. Like, people talk about like second sock or second sleeve syndrome, and I feel the opposite. Like, I feel like once I figure it out once, I'm so excited to do it the second time, because I already know all the answers to how I want to construct it and like do everything. And so I don't know, I actually like fly through the second ones compared to the first ones typically. So I can't explain that. I feel like it's supposed to be the opposite for some reason. But all right, and then last but not least, this is really, I think, quite a quick podcast episode, but that's okay. Some weeks they're just a little faster, and I might not have as much to say, so you guys don't have to listen to me ramble as long. But I finally got the motivation going for my second Hue Shift Afghan. So if you watched me last year, you know that I spent the entire year knitting a large full-sized Afghan for my oldest niece. Is the Hue Shift Afghan by Kerin Dimeler-Laurence. It was a Knit Picks kit. It's Knit Picks pattern. And I'm knitting the whole thing in Knit Picks Mighty Stitch, which is an 80% acrylic, 20% superwash wool. It's worsted weight. And so I have 10 colors of this, 11 if you count the black for the border. And I pretty much am matching it to my oldest nieces. This one is for my youngest niece, so they can have matching blankets, and it's intended to be a Christmas gift. So I still have a very long time to get this done, but there are 100 squares in the blanket. So while it is a Christmas gift, it's going to take me a while, and I know that for a fact because I've already made one before. But it pretty much matches my other nieces, except I switched out, this was a red color in the first one, and I've switched it out for this like neon pink color because that suits my youngest niece quite a bit more. And then same with the yellow. The yellow, there was yellow here on the other one, but it was this color that I didn't really like. It had like almost sort of like a green undertone to it that I felt was very like garish. And it worked within the blanket itself, but like I didn't enjoy looking at it as I was knitting it, if that makes sense. And so I switched it out for this one, and this one is called, I think, Sunflower, and it's just a little bit more kind of balanced to me and just a little nicer and melds with the other colors a little bit. So yeah, I picked this up again because I needed the cord off of it to finish up the sleeve for my Bergman sweater. And I was like, I'd had it like halfway through the second square for like months. Like I just, not months, but like a month. Like just kind of like knit half of this square, threw it in a basket, and was like, I don't want to do it. And so I made myself finish the square so I could get the needle for the Bergman. And as I was knitting it, I think just enough time has finally elapsed since I knit the last one that I'm remembering how fun it was to work on this blanket again. And so it like scratched an itch. I had a great time. I did one square turned into 2, into 3, and now I'm just like neglecting homework as I work on this blanket, and it's kind of a problem. But I'm having a good time, and I really do. I recommend this pattern so much. Like it seems like so much work, and it is, and it seems kind of intimidating, but it's just a ton of fun. And it's like each square is so addictive, and each square you add changes the overall look of the blanket, like square by square. Like you can really start to see the color pattern show up, and it's a lot of fun. So I highly recommend that one. I clearly like it. I'm making it twice, and I wholeheartedly think I'm going to end up making it 3 times because I feel like I deserve one after knitting it this many times. So we'll see. That's a problem for like next year, Bonnie. So we'll see if it's a 3 for 3, but we won't know for a while. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Other than getting my extra ball of yarn to finish up my kip, I haven't made any yarn purchases, and I'm just working through my stash at this point. So I'm kind of daydreaming about what my next sweater is going to be once I get the kip done. And I'm feeling very motivated to not make something blue, green, or teal because that's like all I've made lately. So I'm leaning towards either doing the citrine jumper I have like a rusty orangey brown color to do that in, or I have more of this Knit Picks High Desert Sport in like, I can't remember what the name of the color is, but it's another like reddish orange color. And I was contemplating doing another Favorite Flannel by Alicia Plummer in that because I really like that pattern. And the yarn's a little light for that pattern, but I actually kind of think it would work. Like I think it would just make a nice, like slightly lightweight sweater. So we'll see. I haven't decided yet. I have other options though. I have a lot of options. I have a lot of yarn. So I don't know what I'm going to go with. We'll see. I'll let you guys know next time I come back. But yeah, that I think is it for me. So if you had fun in this video at any point, please, if you wouldn't mind giving it a like, I really appreciate it. It really helps the video get out to more people. Sharing it with a friend is another great way to support the channel. It honestly really helps so much. And if you're not subscribed yet, I would really, love it if you would consider that. All those things said, if you do none of those things, I still appreciate you. Thank you for watching this far. But yeah, I hope you had a good time. I hope you got some knitting in, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.